We've recently gotten a lot of new Quincy shrifts, so in this video I played every single one and I ranked them from worst to best. In order to make sure I didn't make any mistakes, I also asked a few top 50s to help with the rankings. And before we start, please make sure to like and subscribe so we can hit 9,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Also, I forgot to mention, I'm only going to be factoring in vault standing for like 10 to 20%. Like most of it is going to be based off of the base shrift, just because you're mainly going to be in your shrift and not your vault, so yeah. Coming in at the number 15 spot and easily the worst shrift in the entire game. Honestly, it could be the worst ability in the entire game is compulsory. So the main issue I feel like compulsory has is the fact that it has literally no use. Originally, it was honestly pretty good when Type Soul first released. The grab move that I just used in this clip honestly was able to confirm into a lot of stuff. It was really busted on Hakata and it was really busted on Keto. However, that got nerfed and now it barely does anything. Like, it's not even noticeable, and most of the time you aren't going to be able to combo extend. The G move is honestly the worst thing in the entire game. It's super close range, and when you hit it you aren't even able to combo extend off it. Like, what it does is it basically stuns your opponent. However, it's so short that you literally just aren't able to get any move off after it. Another issue that it has is that it's also really difficult to land. Like, it's super close range. Compulsory has a lot of potential to actually be a really cool shrift. However, like, the problem is that the current moveset, there's no way to implement it or buff it without it just being completely broken. I feel like it's one of the shrifts in the game that currently needs like a rework. Like, honestly, I don't think there's anything that needs a rework and deserves a rework more than compulsory right now. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. 15 is gonna be Heat, and the main reason Heat is number 15 is because like you can at least kind of combo with this on like what's it called, compulsory. However, trying to consistently combo with this is literally impossible. Like, look at this clip. This is what's gonna happen every single time you combo with it. The Heat Blade's wind up is so long that literally nothing is going to hit. It kind of does make sense. It is a common clan. It's not supposed to be anything crazy. The fire gun is decent. I feel like the hitbox on it kind of sucks, especially compared to like the gluttony move, which is basically the same thing except that it heals you. And yeah, like straight up, it's just mid. It's really, I know there is some Heat purists, because like Heat for a good period of time was actually a pretty solid shrift to run. However, it received nerfs and now it's pretty trash in my opinion. The vault standing isn't anything special either, and there's really just no reason to use this. I feel like if you do want to use Heat, you could probably just pick up gluttony instead. And I know some people are going to call me stupid for this, but you get like a gunshot move and you get like something kind of similar to the slash. Like, the animation is different, but like if you think about it as like a move, it's basically the same shit. Low-key, it's just a combo extender, right? And it, like, you can actually extend combos with gluttony. So yeah, literally just no reason to pick this up. On to the next one. Next shrift is Superstar, and this is honestly, like, I don't think anybody expected a legendary to be this low, but the biggest issue Superstar has is the T move, the beam. I think the beam is the T move. It has literally no possible way to combo extend, and it's super, like, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It's super fast, so most of the time you will be able to confirm it. However, the damage is too insignificant for it to really make a difference. The big issue with the T move is that you aren't really able to combo extend after it, of course. So like in this clip, I'm able to use an M1 after dashing and stopping. However, I'm pretty sure you can't actually use a move, and that M1 didn't stun long enough for me to actually get any combos off of it. I think maybe as a Hakata user you might be able to get like a Tor reach. However, even then they're probably either going to be able to dash away before you hit them, or it's just not going to be consistent enough to matter. The G move is pretty trash as well. It's literally just Susan Malbachi's move, except it's worse because I think it's a lot slower. It's not able to consistently combo extend either, and the windup is super long. So a lot of the times, if they know what they're doing and they've fought the shrift before, they're just gonna hold F when you do pop it. If you use it too close, they can also just cancel with an M1 because the windup is too long. Honestly, the only redeeming part about Superstar in my opinion is the vault standing. I think the shrift is kind of fun to play, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the beam always lands and it's super fun to use. However, the issue is that it just doesn't make as much of a difference as some other shrifts when it comes to actually fighting. So yeah, 14. Number 13 is going to go to the Iron. This is a very situational shrift. The main problem that I personally see with it is, one, unless you're a Hakata user or maybe Kendo, sometimes it's decent on Kendo, but mainly you need to be a Hakata user to even make this viable, and the Hakata Iron build already got nerfed. The only thing that it really has going for it now is that sometimes you're able to confirm a Rising Swallow off it, but that's not enough to push it past the number 13 spot. The damage is decent, and I think if you're on speed is like one of the skill trees that it could kind of work with. I'm able to pop a Spectre Step into the T. Aside from that, it really just doesn't have anything going for it. I'm not gonna lie, like, this shit just mid. There's literally no reason to use this over anything else, and yeah, it's kind of just super situational. At the number 12 spot, we have power, and honestly, power similarly to iron is pretty niche. This is mainly just good on Hakata because of the close range moves. However, I will say it is pretty decent on other builds as well. The only problem that I really see with power is one, the G doesn't combo extend. It is free damage, but the damage isn't anything crazy, and they can partially walk out of the move. The G is pretty trash if you're not Hakata though, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the range kind of sucks. In this fight, I did manage to actually get a guard break with the G right here. However, genuinely that's not gonna happen. I kind of just got lucky, and it's very rare. The vault standing isn't anything special either. It's kind of just similarly to iron, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's not much to say about it. It's just really niche, and you're only really gonna have fun with this if you're a Hakata player. Number 11 is going to go to Fear. This is honestly one of my favorite shrifts to use. However, every single top 50 I asked said this was pretty trash just because you're able to block all of the moves. Me personally, I think it's still useful if you know what you're doing. You're able to, like, I'm 99% sure you're able to time it in a way where you actually get the moves off Shrew. If you use it after they use a move, like in this clip, after he missed the fast fang, I popped my Fear move, I stunned him. And every single time you land the move, you are also able to usually confirm a free move right after. Like there, I popped a floating strikes. However, if you're going against somebody really sweaty, it's just not going to be that good. So if you're in lower levels of elo and you want something that's pretty free, I would honestly just hop on Fear. Every single move confirms into a combo. However, once you do start getting higher in the elos and you start fighting better and better people, it's not going to be as effective. But generally speaking, if it was purely up to me, low-key, I would just rank this a lot higher. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really enjoy using Fear, but I won't be biased. And also, the vault standing kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't really have any crazy damaging moves, and you probably aren't going to be able to boss rate as well with it as something else. However, like, it's obviously still a mode, and it's obviously still decent, but yeah, it's just not as good as everything else. So I'm not 100% sure if the legendary Hakata weapon true combo with this is even fully patched. I think it is, and I'm gonna rank this with that in mind. However, if it is not patched, this is easily gonna go even higher. And also, pro tip, if you're using this with speed, I'm like 99% sure you are able to just stack Spectre Step off with some of the moves, and even then you're still able to just stack posture with it because they're forced to block, they're not able to parry. So unless you're sweaty enough to parry your Spectre Step, you are basically just getting a free combo starter. So yeah. Alright, Miracle, honestly, it isn't that bad. Unlike the other, like, at this stage of the list, we're going to be getting to the abilities that aren't completely trash. It's just they aren't that good either, right? So you'll still be able to see this be made somewhat viable and actually decent. However, generally speaking, there's just a lot better options. I think that another, like, one of the main issues with Miracle is the T move is really easy to parry, and the T move is like the arrow shit. A lot of the times, even when you do land it, they're just going to either block it, or they're going to instantly parry it, or you're going to miss because the hitbox on it sucks. The G move is honestly really solid. It's a decent combo extender, and if you're good enough, or if you just get lucky, you'll also be able to combo extend moves like Sonata Flow after it. Aside from that though, it doesn't really have that much uses. I don't think this is going to be anything, I don't think it's that good on any builds aside from like Kendo. On speed, this was pretty mid. On Hakata, this doesn't seem that good because you aren't able to short your combo extend off ragdoll moves, and just about anything is good on Quincy. I'm not gonna lie, that shit just brain dead. But yeah, so overall, just a pretty mid ability. I think this also does need a rework just because the vault standing kind of sucks. Every single time you die, you lose a portion of your mode bar and you get your life back. However, the problem is it doesn't really compete with any other vault standings or modes just because you aren't able to deal as much damage as the other vault standing or modes. So for that reason, it's just pretty mid, and I think this does need a rework. It needs the visionary treatment, I'm not gonna lie, because the visionary rework was actually cooked. However, I don't know how much more resources they want to dedicate to reworks, but you know, if the devs are looking for something to rework, I feel like this is definitely a top candidate. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. The number 8 spot is going to go to Thunderbolt, and I think this is the perfect fit for it just because Thunderbolt isn't trash, but it also isn't completely busted. It doesn't really have any sort of special gimmick, or actually it does. Whenever you land the T move, you can immediately get the G move off, and it confirms a Rising Swallow. So if you're on Kendo, you basically just get a free combo starter. Unlike Iron as well, this is very versatile and it can work on a lot of different builds. In my opinion, this isn't that busted enough for it to go any higher than this. However, at the same time, if you know what you're doing, this can still be crazy. This works at just about any PvP level in my opinion. The only real downside that I feel like this has is the hitbox on the moves is kind of janky. Like the T move specifically, it's gonna be a bit challenging to hit, especially when you don't know what you're doing. Like in this clip, I'm kind of washed on it, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm selling my moves right now, but generally speaking, if you actually take the time to learn this shift, you're gonna go crazy with it. The vault standing is also pretty nice. It's pretty basic, I'm not gonna lie. Like it's viable, it's not trash. Really nothing negative to say about it, but I don't think it's overpowered enough for it to go any higher than Number 8 spot's gonna go to Gluttony. The main reason this is ranked so high is because every single time you grip somebody, you get a heal. Every single time you use a move, you get a heal. The heal on the moves is very unnoticeable. The heal on the grip, I'm not sure how crazy that is. However, I don't think it's anything too crazy. And generally speaking, if you're getting enough grips to the point where the heal becomes significant, you're just gonna win the fight anyways. Before, Gluttony used to actually be incredibly overpowered because the move Maw actually used to confirm into Unseen Blade Core, or like the bite move. I don't remember which one that is. However, that got patched and it doesn't really combo extend as well anymore, so for that reason it's just gonna go in the number 8 spot. It's still a pretty decent pick if you want to get some free heals. If you feel like you're dying too fast, this is nice. The team move is really free damage. I'm pretty sure it also drains Ryatsu. The vault standing is also really nice. Honestly, Gluttony is just a solid pick. It doesn't really have any weaknesses aside from the fact that it doesn't really excel too much in the damage department, and I feel like comboing with this is not as easy as it was before because the bite move, which used to confirm into Unseen Blade Core, doesn't confirm into that anymore, and I don't think you can really confirm anything else after either because the ragdoll is too far away. But generally speaking, you are just gonna hit the moves every single time you use them. Not really able to crush on this as much. However, if you like using your base skill tree a lot and you just want something that can help add on to it, this is an incredibly good choice, and you just get free heals throughout the fight. Aside from that, there's not much else to say about Gluttony, so let's just move on to the next one. Number 7 is going to be Wind. Honestly, when I use this, I actually didn't like this a lot. However, if you're on Hakuna and you're able to basically just consistently land the G move, which is the grab, it has a terrible hitbox and it's difficult to land. You are able to basically get a confirmed half a bar off. Apparently, the T move also confirms the grab and it confirms Sonata Flow. I'm not sure if the grab's been nerfed yet, but yeah, apparently that shit does half a bar, which is kind of insane. I'm not gonna lie. Like, originally, I had this ranked a lot lower. However, that grab doing half a bar is genuinely insane. It's enough to push this a lot higher. The things that are holding Wind back from going up is the fact the vault standing is completely garbage and the T move is decent. However, the problem is if somebody's good enough, they're gonna be able to avoid it, and generally speaking, this isn't that good unless you're using Hakuna, and sometimes it's decent on Kendo. On speed, it's pretty mid though, I'm not gonna lie. And the G move is almost impossible to land unless you have the T move already proc. So like combo extending off of either of them is also impossible. So even though you do a ton of damage, you're not really gonna be able to land your other moves consistently. So unless you're just decent at using your base skill tree, this is not the best option in my opinion, because you can just use something else that has actual consistent combos and in total just get a lot more damage off. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. In at the number 6 spot is the X-Axis, and honestly this is really difficult to rank. Some people tell me this is incredibly busted while other people tell me this is completely trash. The main reason why I'm putting this at the number 6 spot is because this is really busted on Keto, specifically the G move, which is like the portal move. That is the main thing that is making this really busted. It gives you hyper armor and it allows you to teleport away from your opponent, so zoning people becomes incredibly easy. Aside from that, the gun is pretty mid. You're not able to mouse aim the gun, so generally speaking, hitting the shots is really difficult, and you lose access to your M1s. I'm pretty sure there is a way to go back to normal M1s. I'm not sure what it is. It might be your bow button. However, I have that unbinded, so I wouldn't know. And yeah, like aside from that, it's pretty trash. The crit with the gun is actually really decent. It's similar to Explode's move. However, I'm pretty sure it is slightly worse just because it doesn't do as much damage and it doesn't have as much range as the Explode move. But the main thing that's really just keeping this up here is the G move. That is one of the best things in the entire game for Keto users, just because you're able to move halfway across the map and then just continue spamming all of your moves like a drone. So yeah, honestly, we don't know much about this, so this is really difficult to rank. This is interchangeable. You could put this higher or you could put this lower, so for that reason I'm kind of just putting it at number 6 as a safety spot, just because. Yeah, let's just move on to the next one. Number 5 is gonna be Explode. Honestly, this wasn't supposed to be so high, but every single top 50 I asked actually said this was incredibly busted. Somebody even ranked this number 2, and that's just because of the T move, where you go into the air, it does a fuck ton of damage and it's almost impossible to miss. The cooldown is incredibly low. Specifically on Quincy Keto builds, this is incredibly busted. The G move, which I thought was completely ass, is honestly not that bad. It can actually combo extend, and it also does a fuck ton of damage, I'm not gonna lie. Explode is viable on just about everything. I feel like on Kendo it may be a little bit wonky, but I could definitely see this being valid on Hakuna, Keto, and on speed like I'm using right now. It's pretty decent. However, generally speaking, I'm not gonna lie, if I had to rank this, I would probably still put this a bit lower. However, in order to be unbiased, I had to take everybody else's opinion into this as well, and most people rank this pretty high. Another really good thing Explode has going for it is the vault standing, which is incredibly busted. It's probably one of the best vault standings in the entire game. It is almost unkillable unless you're going against like light or death dealing. It is really busted. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like Explode is just a solid pick. Let's move on to the next one. Number 4 spot goes to Visionary. This is actually my current main shrift, and the main reason I'm even using an alt is because I don't want to roll off of this. Visionary is incredibly nice with speed. In my opinion, it's easily the best with speed. T move extends into the Spalting crit into Fast Fang, and after that you can just pop like Waterfall Dance. I made an entire video going over the build in specific if you guys want to check that out. However, specifically Visionary in of itself in the base isn't anything too crazy. The G move is, I feel like, it's a biggest weakness just because it can't really combo extend, and when you're fighting against players that are actually like decent at the game and adjusted to fighting Visionary, they're going to be able to consistently parry it. The T move is almost unreactable. The only weakness is sometimes if the opponent times it right, they can actually dash out of it, though generally that doesn't really happen. The T move also loses bullets depending on how far they are from you, so like if they're close it'll shoot more, if they're far it'll shoot less. However, generally speaking, the T move is almost unreactable. The G move generally should hit, and if it does get blocked, it does a decent bit of posture, and the vault standing is incredibly busted. This easily has one of the strongest vault standings in the entire game. I don't think I even need to say much. Like, everybody knows Visionary vault is kind of just brain dead. So yeah, just Visionary overall solid pick, really nice right now. And also shout out Quincy, bro, because this is honestly the best rework that we have ever gotten. Like, we need more reworks like Visionary. We needed more shrifts like Visionary in general, because like this isn't too brain dead. I know I ranked it at number 4, but like it is definitely fightable, and it's also really fun to use as well. So yeah, you know, Visionary just really solid pick. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, the number 3 spot has to go to Death Dealing, and honestly this might be a slight controversial pick. However, recently Death Dealing received Mortal Ties back, so you can now stack Mortal Ties with the Death Dealing zone, which is pretty busted, I'm not gonna lie, because if you're holding them down in that zone with Mortal Ties on, they're stun locked and they're basically forced to parry all of your Kendo moves. And let's be real, nobody is consistently parrying Sonata Flow. Besides, nobody's parrying at all. Nobody's gonna get parried. Basically, they're just gonna be forced to eat every single one of your Kendo moves, and it's really busted, I'm not gonna lie to you. That alone is not enough to put Death Dealing at the number 3 spot. The main build that really pushes it up here is Keto Death Dealing. If you even get your opponent stuck near the middle of the Death Dealing circle, you're able to flood them with Keto moves, and they're just forced to stand there and take all of them, because realistically nobody is parrying all of that. They're just forced to sit there and eat like 50 Keto moves. I got hit with a build like this and I literally just got put straight into a one-shot combo. Like, generally speaking, Death Dealing Mortal Ties also has the potential to one-shot combo you. However, this only happens if they have the right build for it, if they're actually decent at the game, and if they trap you in the middle of the circle. Conditions do need to be met, however, generally speaking, they aren't too difficult to meet. So I know some people did say Death Dealing wasn't that good, but most people I asked did say Death Dealing was pretty solid. For that reason, we're gonna have to drop it at the number 3 spot. And obviously the vault standing for Death Dealing is incredibly busted. In Clan Wars is basically an instant win condition because everybody trapped inside of it just dies, so you're able to get your team like 6+ free points. So Death Dealing, just incredible shrift to have. There's no real downsides to it. I feel like if you're a speed user, I wouldn't pick this up. It's decent on Hakata, and it's really nice on Keto, and it's really nice on Kendo as well. As long as you have some sort of move to help hold down your opponent or just flood your opponent with moves, you're going to be straight with this. Not gonna lie, before we end this off, I could see some people ranking this lower. However, with the Mortal Ties build returning, I just can't see Death Dealing going lower than the number 3 spot. This is an incredibly powerful shrift. It's incredibly versatile as well. Let's just move on to the next spot, which is going to be number 2. Alright, I know some people are going to be surprised to see Flower this high, or not Flower, Butterfly this high. However, this is incredibly busted. So in this clip, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of playing like a drone because I don't know how to play Butterfly properly. However, both of the moves are incredibly busted. So first off, they have incredibly low cooldowns, and second off, both of them confirm into just about anything you want. The T move did end up getting touched later this update, and what basically happened is it doesn't stun as long as it used to. However, that doesn't matter because that's not what made it overpowered. The thing that makes it overpowered is 1, you can use it to escape combos pretty easily, 2, the windup is incredibly short, and 3, you're still able to get moves off of it. Like, even if I think somewhere in this clip I do end up actually popping a Fast Fang after the T move. The G move is incredibly busted as well. If you know what you're doing, you should be able to consistently land this. I feel like it's not as good on speed as it would be on something like Kendo or Hakata. However, you are able to get a Fast Fang off of this. I'm guessing you could probably get a Sonata Flow off of the G as well, and on Hakata you're probably able to get like probably like a Shori or a Tora Reach or something off of it. I haven't really played Hakata that much, so I can't really comment on it. But basically, Flower, it is incredibly busted. It stuns a ton and it's super easy to hit all of the moves. That's the main thing that makes it incredibly busted, and every single top 50 I asked ranked this incredibly high. The only thing that I'm not too sure about Flower is the vault standing for it, and that is basically just because it's not as OP as some of these other ones. Though I'm not gonna lie, it does look pretty fun to use. I personally haven't fought it myself, I've only seen clips of it. However, the moves seem pretty decent. It doesn't seem like a bad vault standing, however it definitely isn't something exceptional, and I think till the base shrift gets nerfed, it's definitely gonna stay in the top 5 at the very least. Like flower, it's incredibly powerful just straight up because the base shrift is really good. Super low cooldowns, it does basically no damage, however it combos into just about any move you want, and it's super spammable. And also the T move, I don't know if I mentioned this, is an evasive. Like you can use that to get out of combos, and a lot of people have told me this, so yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it's called butterfly. I kept calling it flower for some reason, but yeah, I just want to correct myself. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, here is our number 1 spot, and it has to go to the balance. This is currently the best shrift in the entire game in my opinion, just because it's viable in every single sense. Like it literally just doesn't have any weakness. No matter what build you want to use it on, it's good. No matter what game mode you want to use it on, whether it's ranked or clan wars, it's gonna be good. Everything about it is just really good. It's always gonna be really good. Like I'm not gonna lie, I can't even see this ever getting nerfed. It's just really busted. The only thing that might get touched is low-key the vault, because the vault standing is an instant win condition in team fights because you nerf the entire enemy team while healing and buffing your team. It's literally banned in some competitive leagues for type, so like people have leagues where they compete against each other, right? People ban this shit just because of how busted it is. There's literally no counterplay to the vault standing whatsoever, I'm pretty sure, unless they nerfed it, which I don't think they have. The base is really busted. Precedence, like on speed specifically, is really nice because you can combo that into Spalton, into Fast Fang, and you can combo that into Flamethrower, which is what I do on my main. Even in the Schrift, the heal is busted. You can heal you and your entire team for half a bar. Look at the hitbox on that team move. I did not touch this guy whatsoever, and it still hit, and I can still combo extend off that. Like it's just brain dead, I'm not gonna lie. That's it for the video, man. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, and goodbye. Yo, alright, I know I said the video's over, however, I do want to say please make sure to like and subscribe so we can hit 9k by the end of the month, and if this video gets like 300 to 400 likes, I'll make the Soul Reaper version. These videos are really annoying to make, I'm not gonna lie, because unlike the traditional tier list, I need to play every single ability in the game, and that takes like 3 hours to actually get all the abilities, and then 5 hours to actually record and edit all of this, which is really annoying. So, you know, I really would appreciate if you guys smash that subscribe button, and goodbye.